Armando, tienes apagado el micrófono. Armando, ¿me escuchas? Tienes apagado el micrófono.
Sí, buenas tardes. Continuamos con nuestras actividades. Ahora tendremos una conferencia magistral a cargo de Sean Lahmeyer, para la cual solicitamos la colaboración de la doctora Esmeralda Judith Gutiérrez, investigadora del Centro Nacional de Recursos Genéticos del INIFAP, para que nos haga el favor de presentar al maestro. Y también vamos a contar con la colaboración del licenciado Richard Bledsoe, quien nos hará el favor de traducir esta importante conferencia. Adelante, por favor.
Gracias, buenas tardes. Pues presento al maestro en ciencias, Sean Lahmeyer. Él trabaja en la biblioteca Huntington, en el Museo de Arte y los Jardines Botánicos hace más de 20 años. Actualmente se desempeña como gerente de conservación y colecciones de plantas, proporcionando liderazgo programático, de curador y administrativo, así como la coordinación de todas las actividades de investigación y conservación ex situ. El maestro Lahmeyer es actualmente asesor de 2 proyectos multidisciplinarios separados a través de la iniciativa Pacific Standard Time Art Science de Getty, y es miembro del grupo de especialistas en conservación de semillas a través de la Unión Internacional para la Conservación de la Naturaleza. En septiembre hizo una presentación en la 7ª Conferencia Mundial sobre Jardines Botánicos en Melbourne, Australia, destacando la utilidad de las colecciones de plantas vivas teniendo en cuenta la crisis mundial de la biodiversidad. John también ha sido instructor adjunto en biología, especializado en botánica en Pasadena City College desde el 2007. Adelante, maestro.
Thank you for having me.
Gracias por tenerme. Yo empiezo. Esta es una presentación que desarrolló el año pasado para promover nuestro programa de arte.
But before we begin,
Pero antes de
I wanted
empezar,
to talk a little bit about who we are, who the Huntington.
quiero hablar de quién somos, o sobre quién somos.
So the Huntington was founded in 1919 as a
La Huntington fue fundada
non-profit
en 1919
research and educational institution.
Para una institución de investigaciones.
It is 207 acres inside, that's 84 hectares.
Tiene 200 hectáreas.
And it's located in a Mediterranean climate. Now this is important because the favorable climate allows for cultivation of a wide diversity
permite la cultivación de una gran diversidad de plantas. La temperatura
típicamente 32 degrees Celsius.
Está entre 8 y 32 grados centígrados.
So this allows us to grow a wide variety of plants from around the world.
Eso nos permite cultivar una gran diversidad de plantas.
Today we have 17 themed gardens that showcase plants.
Hoy en día tenemos 17 temas de jardines.
This is an aerial map from last year.
Este es una mapa aerial del año pasado.
And the map below is an aerial map from 1922.
Y el mapa abajo es del año 1922.
Note that our property went from being a foothill woodland
que la propiedad era un bosque y ahora es un bosque de naranjas.
Yeah, to being an estate garden. So the early agricultural focus of our property is noteworthy because it highlights what Los Angeles looked like before major development in the 20th century.
Como Los Ángeles había en los principios del siglo XX.
We were the first commercial avocado grove in Southern California.
Fuimos el primer bosque de aguacates en el California del Sur.
All of the dark blotches you see are native oaks.
Todas las manchas negras que ven son los robles nativos.
So that reminds us what this property would have been.
Nos recuerdan de cómo era, cómo estaba la propiedad.
This is an example of some of our popular gardens today, and our gardens are made of important collections.
Eso es un ejemplo de algunos de nuestros jardines importantes hoy en día.
For instance, the desert garden, 1 out of every 3 plants there is from the wild with provenance. So it's an important scientific collection.
Por ejemplo, el jardín del desierto, 1 en 4 plantas es una planta silvestre.
So what does ARC stand for? It's for us a symbolic designation that identifies a plant as being threatened in the wild.
Que identifica una planta en nuestra colección como una planta amenazada en el mundo, en la naturaleza.
It understands that all botanical gardens hold stock of threatened species from an ex situ
Entiende que todos los jardines botánicos son importantes, ejemplares importantes de especies amenazadas durante un periodo de degradación de hábitat y contracción de biodiversidad global.
And it's meant to draw awareness of the general public to the point that we're in a mass extinction and biodiversity conservation. We have action plans that people can learn more about.
Quiere llamar atención a la biodiversidad o conservación de biodiversidad y ofrecer un plan de acción para especies selectas.
It also reflects an institutional commitment of the Huntington to be leaders in a sustainable world.
Refleja la institución de Huntington para ser líderes en un mundo sustentable.
And the link below just shows our strategic goals for the institution, and biodiversity conservation is one of them. The strategic goals of ARC can be summarized with 6 themes. The first is to have it be based on living collections. The plants that, because we're a museum, so the plants that are in our collection.
Los objetivos de ARC es basarnos en colecciones vivas.
And then what it does is it creates action plans through partnerships. And the partnerships we're using a scaled approach. So we have partners at the regional, domestic, and international levels.
Y luego creamos uniones en varios niveles de locales y mundiales.
We want to leverage what existing resources we have, both infrastructure and human capital. And then probably most importantly is this ARC program unites our existing conservation initiatives, that some of which we've been doing for many years.
Este programa de ARC nos unen en las iniciativas que hemos cumplido por muchos años.
This is the mission statement of our institution, and this is what we have to turn back to remind us if we're on the right track.
Esa es la misión de nuestro proyecto.
We're here to have our collections make a difference. That's what we're trying to do.
Estamos aquí para que nuestras colecciones hagan una diferencia en el mundo.
So today, these statistics are from last year. We pull the statistics every June. So this is from last year, June of 2022.
Estas estadísticas son del junio del año pasado. Cada año usamos o tomamos estadísticas del año.
So we have over 57,000 living accessions. These are every time a new plant material comes in, whether it's seed or it's a living plant or it's a tissue culture, we accession it. And that's what an accession is. And we have over 84,000 total plants within our collection.
Tenemos 57,600 como plantas como materiales vivientes, y tenemos más de 84,000 plantas vivas.
But what's most important is at the bottom, and these are the plants we call unique taxa. These are the plants that we're growing in cultivation that other people are not growing.
Pero lo que más importante son las plantas en la parte inferior, que tenemos 3,200 plantas que ocurren naturalmente en la naturaleza y nada más nosotros tenemos esas plantas.
Yeah, the unique taxa is something we'll come back to because that's where we want to focus on. This gives you an idea of where the plants, so about 16% of our collection represent plants from the wild, and this shows you where they're focused. You can notice that Mexico and South Africa are hotspots. So again, this is the geographic representation of our collection.
Entonces, aproximadamente 16% de nuestras plantas son de la naturaleza y México, África y la América del Sur son pues, lugares megadiversos con muchos representantes de estas especies de plantas.
Since this is a partnership-based program, this shows us the scaled approach that we're using. We have partners, again, at the top represents some of our big global partners. Among them is BGCI and, of course, CNRG, who we hope to work with more, the University of Queensland, and you can see some others up there. At the national level, these are some big organizations we continue to work with. And at the state level, these are some regional partners that we continue to work with. So through this partner program, we want to make sure that we're contributing at different scales.
Esta muestra las nuestras uniones y parejas con quienes estamos trabajando en nivel mundial, nacional y estatal.
Well, one of the big advantages I believe we have as an institution is that we're humanities focused, and we're also multidisciplinary. And I think that is a unique spot for us to be in, meaning we have librarians next to scientists, next to historians, next to gardeners and horticulturalists. And together, I think we're a unique asset. We're also a very longstanding cultural institution in Los Angeles. So a lot of people already come here as a cultural center to learn. So we're in a good spot in terms of messaging and outreach and teaching the public about the fate of plants today.
Entonces, la ventaja de nuestra organización es que somos una organización multidisciplinaria y tenemos personas de todas áreas, de todos campos trabajando juntos en nuestra organización en California.
This is from 2019, right before the pandemic. This was our centennial when our institution turned 100. And these are all the staff that came together, and it shows you how diverse we are. And again, this is a strength for us that we have diverse staff. So I think we can create solutions to problems with a very unique perspective.
Esta es una foto del año 2018, un poco antes de la pandemia, mostrando a todos los trabajadores que tenemos en el Huntington, la fuerza de nuestros trabajadores.
This is an example of one of many greenhouses we have that house our living plant collections. This is a mid-elevation tropical collection, like plants you would see in the cloud forest biome. But we have multiple plants here that are not common in cultivation. So we're constantly asking ourselves, how can we contribute and make these collections accessible and valuable to others?
Esto es un ejemplo de nuestra colección de plantas tropicales, pero tenemos varias colecciones y tenemos ejemplares de plantas que no son muy comunes en otras colecciones de plantas tropicales.
We've invested in infrastructure so that we can complement our living collections with scientific research. In this case, this is focused on cryobiotechnology, where we bring people here to train them on dissection using tissue culture, using various techniques. So this is a training facility we have.
Hemos invertido mucho dinero en facultades para entrenar a la gente, y aquí podemos entrenar a la gente en varias técnicas de laboratorio y en las otras cosas que estamos haciendo aquí en esta institución.
So this is a resource we want to use and leverage as part of this program.
Es un recurso que queremos usar en este programa.
But maybe most importantly, we want to unite all the different things we're doing right now that focus on plant conservation into one umbrella. And that's what ARC does.
Pero más importante, queremos unir todos los temas en un tema principal. Eso es lo que hace el ARC.
For instance, we have a herbarium that was founded in 1962. It's rather small with 15,000 specimens, but over a quarter of the 25% of the collections represent imperiled cacti or succulent groups. So it has a niche. We also have a dried tissue repository of high quality DNA and dried plant tissue. And then paired with the herbarium is a very long-standing field program that's been active doing field work since 1966.
Tenemos un herbario que contiene 15,000 especies, pues 25% de la colección representa cacti por grupos similares. Y también tenemos ejemplos de tejido seco, y también tenemos un programa del campo activo desde el año 1966.
As I mentioned before, those are our big strategic goals for our institution. So this program also helps us align with those and meet the goals set. And one of them, besides being leaders in a sustainable world, the one that I really think what we'll do is we'll use our collections to provide multidisciplinary context for contemporary challenges. So we can use our collections and see how we can find solutions through them in terms of plant conservation projects.
Pues podemos usar nuestras colecciones para como resolver problemas de naturaleza con las colecciones que tenemos, y pues usar las colecciones como ejemplares para resolver estos problemas ambientales.
We have conservation horticulture is going to be a focus for us moving forward. We have a rare plant distribution program focused on cactus and succulents since 1958. And so far we've distributed over 3,000 plants through this program. One of the goals of this program is to artificially propagate rare cacti and succulents so that we can put them out into the market and people maybe don't go get these plants from the wild if we can satisfy that demand.
Entonces tenemos un programa de plantas amenizadas y tratamos de distribuir plantas amenizadas. Entonces esto evita que las personas vayan al campo para colectar las plantas amenizadas. Entonces tenemos las plantas amenizadas en nuestras colecciones y podemos como propagar estas plantas al público o vender esas plantas al público.
We have a tissue and seed repository where we have any seed that stores well with orthodox seed storage behavior. We put into low temperature storage, and these are wild species that we get through our field work, or they're species that we get through controlled pollination in our collection that are rare in cultivation, so we can share them. We also have a pollen bank, and that's focused on primarily cycads, so we can share pollen with other institutions across the world, so we can again do controlled pollination for rare cycad species. And we have an in vitro repository of over 300 taxa with a focus on agave, aloe, avocado, magnolia, and oak. So all of these things are existing activities we're involved with. It's just we're going to put them all into the ARC umbrella.
Tenemos una colección de semillas representando especies silvestres o plantas como no comunes en la cultivación. También tenemos una colección de polen con 122 lotes guardados a menos 70 grados centígrados. También tenemos unos taxa in vitro representados, más de 300 taxa enfocando en especies como agave, aloe, presea, magnolia y Carteles.
And also we have a conservation genomics lab. Currently we're focused on cycads, the genus Diune and Encephalartos. But we're hoping to soon expand that work as well. So we have the capability of doing genomic level work.
Entonces tenemos un laboratorio de genómico y nos enfocamos en cícadas.
And finally, Raquel is going to speak or has spoken to you about our cryobiotechnology program. She has done great work. And so far, we've targeted over 250 threatened taxa through this program. This map shows you where those taxa are located that we've used cryobiotechnology on as a tool. It shows you the various taxa and where they're from in the world.
Este mapa nos muestra dónde los taxas que tenemos en el criobiotecnología. Entonces está representando taxa de diversos puntos del mundo.
What's going to be really important for this program is that we're going to train the next generation. Anything we do, we want to involve students, interns. We want to be mentors to the next generation in any project we do with this ARC program.
Queremos entrenar a la siguiente generación, ser maestros y pues promover aprendizaje de lo que hacemos.
These are some past interns and volunteers over the last few years. This is a nice project that showcases that we are a humanities-focused institution. This is a new art exhibit in the gallery called Borderlands. And in this exhibit, we're recognizing plants in our collection that were used as dye plants and pigment plants, or plants that were used medicinally. So it's almost like an ethnobotanical look at what's in our collection, but it's in our art galleries. So we're going to see more of this, where we talk about plants in our library and also in our art collections.
Esta es una exposición de arte que muestra plantas importantes en el etnobiología, como plantas medicinales, plantas usadas para la tinta, y después esta exposición muestra estas plantas importantes pues para los humanos, y se llama, este proyecto o exhibición se llama Borderlands.
So core to this, so important to this project is that we have partnerships and we need metrics to assess the value of our living collection. So we're working with partners that help us understand what's rare and threatened in our collection. That's what we first do. So the first thing we need to do is evaluate our collection. And using last year's list, we have over 2,700 threatened taxa in our collection. So we use third parties like BGCI to help us understand what in our collection is threatened in the wild.
Entonces, primero, empezando, tenemos que evaluar lo que está en nuestra colección y evaluar cuáles son las plantas amenazadas en la naturaleza.
And then we, the various staff in Botanical, talk about the list, and we prioritize taxa that we want to work on. And we're going to focus on unique taxa. Again, these are taxa that only we are growing right now. And we have an advisory board that helps us suggest which taxa they think we should work on.
Pues tomando en cuenta la lista de la evaluación, nuestros trabajadores hablan de las plantas más importantes y lo que tenemos que priorizar para las plantas importantes para la conservación. ¿Y
and
cuáles son las únicas? Sí.
The various action plans can be varied. They could be a knowledge transfer, where we bring people here to share information, like on a technique. We can propagate and distribute and share plant material. We can store material long-term, for instance, in cold storage, or work on protocols for that. We can study the descriptive biology, like looking at some new facet of the plant that hasn't been studied before. We can support future field work, such as a red list, a need to assess plants in the wild. All of these would be considered actions through the ARC program.
Hay varios planes de acción en el programa de ARC, por ejemplo, trabajo en campo, biología descriptiva, conservación genómica, transferencia de conocimiento, propagación y distribución de las plantas y sí.
Out of the 2,700 plants that are currently on our ARC list, this is a word cloud showing the most represented plant families on the list.
Esta muestra las familias de plantas más representadas en la lista.
So the larger the font, there's more plants in that group. So the two biggest plant groups that are threatened in our collection are cacti and orchids.
Las plantas o los grupos más amenazados en nuestra colección son las cactea y orquídea.
This is a graph showing ARC plants that are both threatened and unique. So these are plants that only we are growing in cultivation that are also threatened in the wild. And here you see bromeliads, cacti, and orchids also being the #1 groups.
Esta gráfica muestra plantas que son amenazadas y únicas en nuestra colección. Entonces, y también los grupos son más amenazados, son los orquídeas y los cactidae.
But going back to how we measure value in our collection, we should note that the number of unique taxa is going down. This is a good thing. What we're seeing here are comparisons between 2020 in green, and the lighter green is 2022 on the left. And so what this is showing us is over time, the number of unique taxa is going down in our collection, and that's a good thing. It means we're sharing these unique taxa with other gardens or other institutions, so we're not the only ones growing them.
Esta gráfica muestra que cada año tenemos menos y menos taxa única. Esto significa que estamos compartiendo taxa con otros jardines. Entonces, esa es la diferencia entre el año 2000, la taxa única en 2020 y 2022.
And this is going to be where we continue to prioritize our efforts to form partnerships where we can share plant material or work on protocols to help certain taxa that are highly threatened in the wild.
Y vamos a continuar trabajando así, compartiendo taxa y tratar de priorizar plantas amenazadas en la naturaleza.
This is an innovative way to raise awareness about the beauty of biodiversity through this is the Pantone Color Institute. And what they did is they chose a color a few years ago that was like the color of biodiversity, and it's pink, because pink was the first documented pigment. And I think it's a really great way to raise awareness about biodiversity. And we're going to look to explore more options like this on how we can talk about biodiversity through creative ways.
Este es un programa que se llama Color de Biodiversidad, que busca como crear biodiversidad y eligieron el color rosa porque el color rosa fue la primera pigmenta producida por los humanos. y por eso eligieron ese color.
So as we look forward, these are some of the strategic next steps. We want to continue to build and strengthen our partnerships around our collections.
Queremos continuar construyendo y nuestras uniones de las colecciones vivas.
We want to continue to share and distribute unique taxa.
Queremos continuar compartiendo y distribuyendo la taxa única.
We want to increase the number of living accessions with wild provenance. So we want to be careful about what we add to the collection.
Tenemos que tener cuidado con las plantas que agregamos a la colección.
We want to deepen the genetic representation in select core groups so that we have better genetic representation for select groups, such as oaks, cacti, certain groups of cacti and oaks and cycads.
Tenemos una representación genética más amplia, como seleccionando grupos pues principales.
We want to commit new resources to advancing botanical research and conservation horticulture with an emphasis on training and internships for the next generation. So we really want to, like I said, involve the next generation in anything we do through this program.
Queremos involucrar a la siguiente generación con todo lo que hacemos en este programa, entrenando la siguiente generación.
Okay. Thank you.
Gracias.
Richard, si me puedes ayudar, por favor. Bien, abrimos un espacio por si tienen alguna pregunta o comentarios al respecto. Adelante, doctora Esmeralda, si pudiera hacer algún comentario.
No, pues primeramente agradecer al maestro Lahmeyer por esta excelente plática, muy interesante, muy bonita. Y más adelante, a través de estos seminarios, de este congreso, pues poder colaborar con ellos. Y que más gente interesada también, pues que colabore en esta área de conservación.
¿Nos puedes apoyar, Richard, con la traducción?
Sí, agradecer al maestro por, in English. He wants to thank you for participating in this. I mean, she wants to thank you for participating in this conference, and we will continue supporting you through these programs.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that we do look forward to working more with CNRG. I believe we have several projects through this ARC program that we could help support, where we could find a good partner with CNRG, and we I hope that can move forward. So thank you for having me.
Espero que podemos continuar trabajando con CNG. Gracias por tenerme aquí.
Gracias.
Bien, gracias. Bueno, pues les agradecemos al maestro Lahmeyer. Sí, también agradecemos la presentación de la doctora Esmeralda Judith Cruz Gutiérrez y también el apoyo de Richard Bledsoe, que por ahí se me pasó a comentarles. Él es de formación licenciado, egresado de la Universidad Juárez del estado de Durango. Bien, no sé si haya por ahí alguna pregunta, algún comentario a nuestro público.
He's asking if they have any questions for you.
Bien, si no hay más, pues un enorme agradecimiento por tan importante presentación. Muchas gracias.
He's telling you he gives you a very big thank you for presenting your institution.
Oh, you're very much welcome. Thank you.
Gracias.
Okay.
Thank
Bien,
you.
gracias.
Bye.
Bien, continuando con nuestras actividades, nos vemos a las 13:20 horas, ¿sí? Para continuar con otro segmento donde se estará dando a conocer el nombre de los carteles ganadores y carteles ganadores de reacciones. Esta actividad estará a cargo del licenciado Cuauhtémoc de la Peña García, que es parte del Comité Evaluador de Diversidad Biológica 2023 de Tamuanchán, México. Gracias.